this is actually my third time filming this, and I'm over it. The first time that I filmed this video, my camera just kept dying, or it was like not enough storage, like there was a problem every time. So I was just like, I'm just gonna take a break, deep breath, and I'll come back to it. So I came back to it. I spent like 2 hours filming because my camera had died halfway through, and then I had to, you know, continue after that, only to upload the footage and find out it was zoomed in on my nose. My nose. The whole time.
A little readjustment because my feet was falling asleep.
So then I had to take a week-long breather from that because I was so highly upset. I had spent all that time, I had spent time make-upping myself, and then for it to be for nothing? For nothing. So, we're here again. We're doing a book haul. It's quite a large book haul, hence why I didn't want to have to do it again. Do you think I'm going to remember the synopsises of these books? No. No, I do not, and I just talked about these all twice a week ago. So, bear with me this time. I might be a little agitated as I am showing you these books. I think I only have 3 that might be excluded from this, but pretty much all of these are ARCs. These are ARCs that I picked up at PLA. If you guys are unfamiliar, that is Public Library Association. I went there for work in Nashville. I hope y'all Nashvillians are doing well because it was just so nice there when we were there. Well, the weather was not nice, but the people were just so nice there when we were there. And I did have a good time, and as you can see, I got a lot of ARCs. We ended up bringing home over 30 ARCs within 2 carry-on bags. I was waiting for security to pull me aside. Somehow they didn't. So, let's get into this. First, I have kind of sorted these into when they're coming out this year. These are all ARCs for this year. I've been trying to do the ARC vlogs. Now I have some substances for those ARC vlogs, if I could actually do them. As long as I review them at some point, right? There's one that I bought, and that was Spectacle Book 1. If you guys don't know, this is a recent graphic novel that I've been loving. It is about these twins that work in a moving carnival, and one of them dies and comes back and is a ghost, and they're trying to solve the murder, but there's other weird stuff happening at the carnival. I absolutely adored it, so I had to find a copy. This is like a used library copy that someone was selling, but it looks brand spanking new, so I was really excited. I got this for like $5. So, very cool. Check it out if you haven't already. I've also been sick. Then we have All the Stars and Teeth, and this was my book of the month. If you guys don't know why book of the month is actually merging with just book of the month, I don't know if they're going to have YA selection still or not. They didn't really seem clear because I got a message saying get your last YA book, so I'm not too sure what's happening with that. So I'm just going to become a book of the month affiliate. That being said, I really enjoy Book of the Month. I think the prices are really good for like a hardback book. They are all one standard size. Oh, it looks so nice on your bookshelves. But I think their choices tend to be really good too. So I will leave a link to Book of the Month down below if you guys are interested. They always have coupon codes. You can get like your first box for like $5. So if you are intrigued, there you go. These are really nice too because they'll have like the Book of the Month symbol, and they also have the month that you got them. So I just really enjoy them. I don't know, like, why did it take me so long to sign up for Book of the Month? I don't know. At this point, I'm just subscribed myself. So what is this about? This was about pirates and sea stuff. The kingdom. She has spent her life training to be the master of souls. Everyone else can choose their magic, but she can't. She has just been training to be the Master of Souls for her whole life, and that's what she's going to be. However, her trials go very wrong, and therefore she is on the run. She strikes a deal with Bastion. That's a new YA popular love interest name. He's a mysterious pirate. He'll help her prove she's fit to rule if she'll help him reclaim his stolen magic. Sounds really interesting. Sounds like something great for Scallywagathon when we decide to do that again. So I had picked up Yes, No, Maybe So. This was a PLA. It's a finished hardback copy. Now I personally did not get this for myself because Becky Albertalli and I don't get along. I don't know what it is. I don't enjoy her writing. But I have been seeing a lot of people hype this up, and I think it would be a great addition to our library, so I got it for a library donation. So someone else will be able to enjoy this. This is about two characters. The one is volunteering for some political group and he has to go door to door and hand out pamphlets. Quite excited about it for some reason. But it's about another girl who is also doing it for the summer and they get stuck together somehow doing it. And of course there's a budding romance and all this political stuff going on. So there's that. I don't know much more than that. I don't really care to know much more than that. So yeah. One of the other things is Esperanza Rising. So I actually got to see this author speak at one of the dinners that I ended up going to. And this just seems so cute. This has been on my list for a while, so I'm happy that I was able to pick up a copy. And this is about a girl who has grown up in Mexico. Her family is quite rich, but then tragedy hits her family and they have to move to California. And when they go to California, they are put into these like Mexican farming groups. And it is about how she's not ready for the hard labor, the financial struggles, and all that is brought on by the Great Depression and also the fact that she is not accepted in this country. So on top of that, her mother gets sick and she has to find a way to rise above all these circumstances and be a happy-go-lucky girl again. So it sounds just so good. I think middle grade books are so much more impactful than like any other book. I read these and it just has such a way of like spelling things out that are just, oh, they hit you right in the feels. So very excited about that. Next we have And I Do Not Forgive You. I hate that they put stickers on all these arcs. Why did you do that? Yes, I will put in, first of all, that vote is way overdue. So I'm not going to put in a vote for that one. But a lot of these are going to have these stickers on them to tell me to go vote for something. So this is a short story collection and a short story collection. And it is all about revenge stories. So I actually was going to start listening to this on Scribd, but I tend to like to physically read short story collections, so I was very excited when I saw this. I was like, gimme, 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 gimme. I really like this cover. I think it's very eye-catching. I like the colors, and I'm always about revenge stories, and I think it's female revenge stories on top of that, so, yeah, and it's just by one author, so I'm interested in this, very interested in this. And then I saw The Five, and I was so excited. This has been on my list, and I can't believe that they still had arcs coming around because this came out last year. April of last year, so I was really surprised that they still had arcs, and especially for something so interesting. So this tells the stories of the victims of Jack the Ripper. It doesn't go into Jack the Ripper apparently and just focuses on these women's lives. This is a nonfiction book. I've seen nothing but praise. I talked about how I got this. I think I posted on Twitter that I got this and so many people were hyping this up. They said it was just so good, and I think this is going to be my nonfiction pick for at the library. We have to read a nonfiction book as homework, so I think that this is going to be mine, and I'm so excited to have this. Just sounds so interesting and so good, and you guys have just hyped it up so much, so I cannot wait to read this. I say that, and then it will sit on my TBR shelf for years, so I'm excited about all books, okay? Just know that. Just know that. I just don't have the time or the energy. Okay, moving on. I do believe I picked up one March arc, and this is The Fortress. This sounded so good. So a lot of these I ended up picking up because they had kind of hyped them up at some of the panels that I had gone to, and they were talking about them, and I was like, that sounds intriguing, so I had gone to their booths to pick them up. And then some of them I kind of picked up on a whim because things were chaos. Anytime there's arcs giving away, it's chaos, and so some of them I had just like randomly grabbed. This is one that they were hyping up and it sounded so good. This is about a guy who has, you know, a very loving wife. He has a baby on the way, but he also is known for sleeping around and he doesn't care. Like, he's like, I'm successful, I do what I want. And basically his wife has decided she will stay with him, but he has to go to the fortress. A city-state called the Fortress where indigenous inhabitants, a society run by exclusively women, and he has to live in isolation there. However, he's forbidden to ask questions, to raise his hand in anger, and to refuse sex. He's unprepared for what will happen to him over the course of the year, not only to his body, but to his mind and his heart. It is a confronting moving novel asking questions about consent, power, love, and fulfillment. Group comes out in April. One was a graphic novel that I picked up, and this is called 1920 London. This is about two emo girls, I think, that are falling in love. A doomed romance between two emo kids set in London in 2005. More than friends, less than lovers. They're trying to grow shrooms before the world ends. It does look like this is also a furry type of romance, so I don't know, I just picked it up. I was like, let's see, I'm always looking for new graphic novel recommendations. And one that was actually sent to me, and it had the cutest PR package of all time. It came in a pizza box. That is Best Laid Plans. This, I kept requesting this, and they were like, Allie, we are sending it. Calm down. But I'm so excited for this. This is about a girl who is a virgin, and her friend are both virgins, but then on her birthday party, her friend loses her virginity, and then she's like very worried about going to college as a virgin. Virginity is not that, it's not that special. Just saying. Ends up meeting this guy. He's a college student. She's really into him, but she's afraid that he will realize that she is inexperienced, so she ends up meeting up with her guy best friend, and she knows that he's gotten around, that he will be patient with her, so she kind of strikes up this deal that she, you know, wants him to teach her the ropes, and, you know, things happen. Things happen. So it sounds so good. So good. I'm so excited to read this. I hope that it is so sex positive, so let's get it. Let's do it. Next we have No Going Back. Now, this is one that I kind of grabbed in a rush, and I did not realize. I think it's part of a series, but it still sounds kind of interesting. Maybe I'll give it a try. If I end up not liking it, nothing wasted here. But it is about a woman who has given up her child for adoption because of like the dangerous lifestyle, I guess, that she leads. But she has made an enemy in someone, and this enemy has found her daughter and kidnapped her. So then she has to go on a mission and save her daughter. And then when that happens, she makes an even more powerful enemy of some sort, and therefore she has to figure out where her enemy is in order to save herself, and something along the lines of that. I don't know, it just sounds like it's a wild ride, and we will see how it goes. Then we have Pretty Things, and this just looks so good. I saw this. I think this is on my list of books to read for the year, to look out for the year. Two women and their lives colliding at some point. This follows Nina. She got a liberal arts degree. She moved to New York City, but when she gets there, her dreams are crushed, and she ends up becoming an expert con artist while she was there. It's a dangerous scam yet. And then we follow Vanessa, who is a privileged young heiress who wants to make her mark in the world. She's an Instagram influencer, traveling the globe, receiving free stuff. That is until her life is struck by tragedy. She retreats to her family's sprawling mountain estate, where she ends up meeting up with Nina for some reason. Greatest game of deceit and destruction they will ever play. But it just sounds so interesting. Next is May, and this is quite a big stack, so one of the first things that I saw and I was like, gimme is out now. This is Queer We Go Again. This is a short story collection, Queer Stories. The other one, I believe, was All Out. This is kind of, it's not really a sequel, but just like a continuation of All Out, which is another short story collection of queer stories. All Out, and then read this, but I'm always down for short story collections. If this wasn't on your radar, here you go. Comes out in May. I'll try to have all the dates down below for these for when they come out. Next, I was so excited when I saw this. This is Girl, Serpent, Thorn, and this is one of my most anticipated releases of the year. So this is from the same author who did Girls Made of Snow and Glass, which I really love. She does really fantastic kind of like fairy tale kind of twisty stories. So I was so excited when I saw this there, and I was like, gimme. This is about a girl who her touch is poisonous, so she's kind of been hidden away, but it is kind of her realizing her power. She must decide if she's willing to step out of the shadows for the first time. There is a demon in the dungeon who holds knowledge that she craves in the answer to her freedom, but there's also a young man who isn't afraid of her, whose eyes linger not with fear, but with an understanding of who she is beneath the poison. Now she has to decide if she wants to become human or demon, princess or monster. So I'm so excited. It just sounds so good. He's just gonna be a good one. Then we have the Paris Hours, and originally I probably wouldn't have picked this up, except for they had hyped it up and talked about it in a way that I was like, I like it. I'm into it. It's relatively short. I do like historical fiction. It's not something that I always pick up, but I still really like it. This, I believe, follows 4 different people whose paths end up crossing. Yeah, these are 4 different people that come together. It's a maid who was asked to burn her employer's notebooks, but she ends up saving one for herself. There is a refugee who performs puppet shows for children that are nothing like the fairy tales they expect. There's a lovesick artist who's down on his luck and running from a debt that he cannot pay. And then there is a journalist who is all about telling other people's stories who are too painful to tell. So this takes place, I think, over one single day in Paris and how their lives cross and come together. And I just thought that this sounded so interesting. I love stories where the people's lives like cross at some point, so I'm always down. I like historical fiction. I think this sounds interesting enough. Next we have, this is another one where stories kind of cross. That is the Book of V, and this follows 3 different women over 3 different time periods. So we have Lily, who is a modern day mother and daughter. She wants to be a writer, but grappling with her sexuality and her intellectual desires while trying to manage her role as a mother in 2016. And a wife. And then there's Vivian, who's a perfect political wife, dedicating to helping her ambitious husband find success in Watergate era Washington, D.C. But he demands a humiliating favor, and her refusal changes the courses of her life. And then we follow Esther, who is a fiercely independent young woman in ancient Persia, where her and her uncle's tribe existence outside the palace walls when an innocent mistake results in devastating consequences for people she is offered up as a sacrifice. So this just sounds so good. Just very empowering women's stories and just told over different periods of times, and it just it sounds so good. It sounds so good. I'm so excited. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is how I end up zooming in on my nose. I end up messing with the camera. The next 2 both sounded so good, so good. Everything just sounded so good, okay? Just get used to me saying that in this video. Because we still have some more to go. But the one is Catherine House. I didn't know I needed this book, but I'm pretty sure I needed this book. This is like a secret society kind of thing. It very much reminded me of Roses and Rot, which is one of my all-time favorite books, but this is about the Catherine House. Basically, if you can dedicate 3 years of your life to this house, then you will be so successful once you come out of there. But the thing is, this follows one character who does get into Catherine House. You are totally isolated from the outside world. You're not allowed to talk to anyone while you're in the house, except for the people that are also in the house. But this character gets accepted in and basically finds out that the house has an agenda of its own. And I believe someone ends up being murdered, and there are some very dark secrets that are revealed about the house, but it just sounds so good. So good, so good, so good. And look at this cover. Oh my god, this cover is gorgeous. It's beautiful. I love it. I love these colors. And then the other one is Ghosts of Harvard, and this just has such a feel about it. I love these aesthetics. Oh yeah, this is about a girl who goes to Harvard. Her brother, who was, I believe, schizophrenic, and he ended up dying while he was at Harvard. And basically, she goes to Harvard in order to solve the secret of her brother's death. She believes something happened, that he didn't just kill himself. She thinks there's more to it than that. So she's going to investigate. Soon, though, she's bringing up clues of an increasingly sinister past, and she's hearing about the ghosts of Harvard's past. So she starts to ask herself, should she listen to these ghosts? Will they lead her to the truth about her brother, or down a path of her own destruction? And it just sounds so good. I love these dark academy type stories. So why am I standing on my tiptoes? What am I? I'm just working on these calf muscles. Just working on my fitness gym. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I upset that. And we have the biggest stack of all, which is June. There's a lot. There's a lot for June. Now this first one, I don't think I'm going to end up keeping. I grabbed it in a rush of things. It kind of has that new thriller kind of thing going on. This has been a, what's the word I'm looking for? Trend in thriller covers, and I was like, I'm interested. But this is part of a series, and it does seem like you might have to follow the rest of the series in order to know what's going on. So I'm probably not going to keep this one. It's about a woman who ends up having a kid, and so she kind of retires from her investigative life, and then one day while she was walking outside with her kids, she comes across a woman hanging from a tree, and not only that, I think she is immigrant. Yeah, she comes across an immigrant hanging from a tree and therefore goes back into investigating. I don't like the overall premise of this. I don't think I'd be okay with reading about this, so I'm just, I don't know, kind of, I don't know. I hate that I picked this up on a whim thinking, because most of them I had picked up, tried to look through and see if it seemed interesting, and this was just one that I didn't get the chance to look through as I grabbed it. So this is the one that I'm probably not really going to keep. Don't Turn Around, and I just thought that this seemed really interesting. This is about two strangers. They're two women, and they somehow end up together, and they're going on this road trip, and they're trying to escape one person who is trying to kill them, or something along the lines of that. They end up on a road trip. They are both women who have angered some people in their lives, and they can't be sure which woman the bad guy is coming for. Like, I don't know. It just sounds so interesting. Like, what are they running from? Why are they running from him? What is happening? It says 322 miles of road, 6 hours, 2 strangers, 1 killer, too many secrets. That's all you need to know. Okay, then I managed, well, actually my coworker saw this and snatched one for me because I'm a big Megan Miranda fan, and she's got a new book coming out this year and I'm so damn excited. And that is the girl from Willow Hills. Is that right? Widow Hills, not Willow. We're not willowing, we're widowing. This is the girl from Widow Hills. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So this one sounded so much different, I feel like, than her normal stories, but we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. This is about a girl who, when she was very young, she was swept away in a rainstorm, and basically this search went on, and she was found alive miraculously, and therefore, you know, she gained a lot of media coverage. Her mother ended up writing a book about her, and she was in the spotlight. She didn't like the spotlight, so she ended up moving away, changing her name, and now we're coming up on like the 20th anniversary of when she was found, and she knows that people are going to come looking for her again. And it's all because she is a sleepwalker. Like, that's how most of this has happened. She ends up, because of all the stress, she ends up sleepwalking again, and one night she wakes up in her yard, and at her feet is a man, a dead man, and it is someone from her past way back when she, you know, she was much more popular in life. So, I love it. I hope that it is told kind of like The Missing Girls and told a little backwards. I love stories that are told backwards. Give me the backwards. We'll see. I mean, I won't be upset if it's not told that way, but I'm hoping it's told that way. So this isn't her usual kind of cover. I'm upset about this cover. This feels like a very generic cover, and I love her other covers so much more. Okay, then another one that I'm extremely excited about is Mexican Gothic. Look at this cover. Look at this cover. This cover is so beautiful. So this is a Gothic tale that is told in the Mexican countryside. This is about a girl who gets a distressing call from her cousin, I believe. Yeah, her newlywed cousin. So she goes to her cousin's country house, and, you know, she's not afraid of her cousin's husband. He is menacing and alluring. His father, who is fascinated by her, and the house itself, which is invading her dreams with visions of blood and doom. The companion in this is the family's youngest son, but he might also be hiding a dark secret. So, I don't know, this just sounds so good, so good. I love these, like, haunting tales set inside, like, an isolated house. Give it to me. I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my voice. I've done so much talking, and there's still so many books left. Next, we have The Light of Days, and this sounded so good. Again, historical fiction, World War II historical fiction, but this is about badass female women. This is I think it's fiction. It might be nonfiction. I don't think I could find where it was, because it is about Jewish women in Poland who helped transform the Jewish youth groups into resistance cells to fight the Nazis. So basically, these were the ghetto girls. They paid off guards. They hid revolvers and loaves of bread. They helped build underground bunkers. They flirted with German soldiers, bribed them with wine, whiskey, home cooking. They used looks to seduce them, and then they shot and killed them. They bombed German train lines. They blew up water towers. So they did so much, and I feel like this is... I had never heard of the Ghetto Girls before, and so I'm intrigued. Again, I can't remember if this is fiction or nonfiction. I have to look it up, but it just sounds so good, so impactful, so lovely. Well, not lovely. It's probably not lovely to read about poisoning and killing people, but you know what I mean. It's one that people just kept talking up. I couldn't really get the overall premise of it. It seems very vague, but this is Ghost Factory, and everyone was just really hyping this. Like, they saw it in my bag, and they were like, oh, the Ghost Factory, so good, so good. So I was like, okay. I mostly picked it up because the cover is just really intriguing. This is about a man who he flees Northern Ireland once the manufacturing industry withers, and basically death is blooming around him. His father suddenly dies and there's attacks on his friends, so he ends up moving away. However, once he flees to London to build a new life, there are all kinds of like ghosts pulling him back to this town and things like that. So very vague. I don't really know what exactly is happening. Is this paranormal? Is it not? I don't know. We'll find out. And then we have We Are Not Free. So I read George Taki's graphic novel memoir about his time in the Japanese camps, and this is also based in those camps. These are different teenagers living in those camps in the U.S. during World War II. And these are second generation Japanese American citizens, 14 teens who have grown up together in Japantown, San Francisco, 14 teens who form a community and family, 14 teens whose lives are turned upside down when they are removed from their homes and forced into these incarceration camps. It's about them pulling together and fighting against the racism that is pulling them apart. So this just seems so impactful. Ever since then, I wanted to kind of read more into those camps that were happening. I feel like there's just so much that isn't said about them, and I don't ever remember really being taught anything about them. So just fascinating, exciting to read more, and I believe this is a YA, and it sounds like a very hard-hitting YA. So, alright, stick with me, just a few more. Next we have July, another stack of books in July coming out. So it's a middle grade that I'm so excited. I didn't even know this was coming out, but it sounds so good, and that is Dress Coded. This is basically about dress code issues happening at schools, girls facing these dress code issues, you know, being sent home because of things, failing, the consequences that come from these things, about these terrible dress codes that make absolutely no damn sense. So this is about some of these girls come together and they create a podcast to talk about the dress code issues that they are facing, and they end up gaining a lot of stories from other girls, and this just sounds so good. The dress code issue, I feel like, is something that is still going on. It's been going on for years. You see a lot of posts about it on social media. They were telling stories when they were talking about this, about how like some girls had like failed tests because, you know, something weird happened and they like had to take off their coat or something, and they were sent home and ended up like flunking something because like there were so many terrible stories, and we all have one. All girls have one. This is another middle grade, and this is a graphic novel, and this is Shirley and Jamila save their summer. She thinks that she's going to have a boring summer in her new neighborhood until she meets Shirley, and this is a play on Sherlock Holmes. Shirley thinks that she's an investigator, and when they come together, there are kids that are like losing things, and they kind of hire Shirley and Jamila to find these things for them. So it sounds like it's really fun. It seems really cute, so I'm eager to read this. Have Cinderella is Dead. I was so excited when I saw this. This isn't really a Cinderella retelling. It kind of it happens after the events of Cinderella. It's been 200 years since Cinderella found her prince, but the fairy tale isn't over. So basically these girls are required to appear at this annual ball and be selected as wives. If their match is not found, the girls who are not chosen are never heard from again. This is about Sophie, who would rather marry her best friend than parade in front of suitors, so she makes a desperate decision to flee and finds herself hiding in Cinderella's mausoleum. She meets Constance, the last known descendant of Cinderella and her stepsisters, and together they vow to bring down the king once and for all, and then they also learn more about Cinderella's story than they knew before. No, I've been seeing people hype this up, but not enough. So here it is. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Learn about it. It seems so good. So next we have Empire of the Wild. This was another one that people just kept hyping up, like they would see it in my bag and they were talking about how good it was. Again, not something that I know that much about. It is an indigenous voice in contemporary literature and talking about story inspired by a Canadian legend, a werewolf-like creature that haunts the roads and woods of Native people communities. She gets married, and then her and her husband have an argument and he disappears, and she's been looking for him for years, and she comes across him one day, like in a parking lot, and he has no memory of her, like he has no idea what's going on, and so she enlists the help of some of the people in her community to figure out what the heck is going on and why her husband does not remember her. So, I don't know, we'll find out. I did not know that there was werewolves in that. Stone Girl, and this sounded so good. Another book that they were hyping up because they just said that it was so impactful. Basically, there is this brotherhood called the Lost Boys, and it is this group of boys that go around and kind of select the rich and troubled women. They prey on these women, and basically this follows one girl who she ends up attracting the attention of one of these Lost Boys, and it ends up turning very violent. It sets off a chain of events that shatters her life. Years later, it ends up costing her the one thing that she can't bear to lose, and when an investigation into a murdered Lost Boy pulls her back into the snare, her and her mother, who are both victims of the Lost Boys, are now in pursuit of vengeance. So, it sounds so good. It sounds so good. I don't know, like, it's got that dark side to it. It's got revenge. It just sounded so absolutely amazing. So, very excited about this. This was one of the top ones. Like, when they were talking about it, I was like, I need my hands on that book. And then the last three, I swear there's only 3 more. There's 3 more. So, one is, I believe, a middle grade, and this is Fighting Words. This is from the same author that did The War That Saved My Life. They are sisters, and the older sister is always protecting the younger sister. She has protected her when their mom went to prison, when their mom's boyfriend took them in, when the boyfriend did something terrible, and they had to run away. But the problem is who is protecting her older sister, basically. She finds out that her older sister tries to kill herself, and she realizes that there's a lot more going on than she's ever realized, and that her sister has protected her from so much. So it talks about child sexual abuse, and it's an intense tale of compassion and humor, and about 2 sisters who are linked by love and trauma, and who have to find their own voice to find their way back to each other. So this just sounds really impactful. Again, middle grade just has such a way of just talking about really deep, dark things and just really hitting you in the feels. Then we have With or Without You. This is about a couple. The guy is becoming a little more famous. He's a musician, and he's kind of debating whether or not he wants to go on the road, leave his girlfriend, or stay with her, and then she goes into a coma. And basically when she wakes up, she is this whole new person. She is an artist herself, and it is now challenging because he has decided to stay with her, but now she is this new person, and what that means for the relationship, and now she has her own success, and about kind of growing into their own selves in this marriage. And this just sounded really good when they were talking about it. It's relatively short, so we will see about that. And then the last one is another middle grade, and this is A Pinch of Magic. I must have picked this up because I've seen Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin talk about this, and when I posted a picture, he was like raving about it, and I was like, I know I picked it up because I saw you talk about it, and I love middle grade fantasy, and this just sounds so darn cute, and he just was talking about how great it was, and this comes out in August. I don't know if I said that. I don't remember. It's about 3 sisters who want an adventure, but they get a carpet bag, a set of nesting dolls, and a mirror. But these items come with a curse, and in order to change their fate, they meet this mysterious prisoner. He apparently knows how to break their curse and stay alive, but it involves shipwreck, smugglers, and the sorcery of the most perilous kind. So, I don't know, this just sounds so good. It sounds so cute. I can't wait to read it. So, and if Gavin has raved about it, I'm sure that it is lovely. So, that's it. That's it. I barely have a voice left, but that is it, friends. Thank you for hanging in there with me for all this. Anyway, I'm gonna take a nap now. I hope you guys have liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe to see future book hauls from me and ARC vlogs. They're gonna be coming. They're not probably gonna be at all these, but I plan to get to most of these. Plan is the key word there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!